Almost nothing can survive in the Scarlands. What once may have been a place of progress, industry, and dense urban living has long since been reduced to ruin. The ground is barren, and the water sources tainted. The air burns the lungs of those unfortunate creatures that pass through here. This is the story of Max, one such unfortunate soul. Already weak and malnourished, he has been fruitlessly scavenging in the ruins of the old megacity for days. But despite the hardships, he's dead set on the task of survival, even though it may seem insurmountable.
Take that weak guy. SKULLBOYS rule.
Huh. Okay, I guess this is the story of the SKULLBOYS. We must first ask, who are these SKULLBOYS, seen here exploring an abandoned factory warehouse? Why have they chosen to live in the Scarlands? And is documenting their violent and no doubt short lives worth the effort of a distinguished documentarian like myself? The answer to at least one of these questions is almost certainly no. What we can say is that they are a trio of young adult wasters, likely originating from one of the dozen or so pirate, raider, cannibal, pirate cannibal, raider cannibal, or pirate raider cannibal gangs that dot the planet like abscesses on a scarier-stricken monitor lizard. To their credit, the SKULLBOYS are fairly well organised, at least relative to my personal expectations. After securing the warehouse and deeming it a suitable base of operations for their gang, two of them begin hauling random supplies and found items into a storage room, while the third cleans up scrap and makes plans to construct simple bedding. Supplies, in this case, include packaged survival meals, large quantities of a drug called flake, and a few pieces of loose timber. Notably absent from their supplies are any medical kits whatsoever, not even so much as a bandage. Although the largest of the three SKULLBOYS, a man called Bardark, did bring a pile of raw hops. So, at least they have that covered. Bardark can be seen here, hauling what appears to be what looks like, yes, that is in fact a desiccated human corpse he found in a nearby building. What possible use could he find for such a thing? What sordid purpose will it be put to? Could it be that the SKULLBOYS intend to put these poor souls to rest, giving them a proper burial, reading funerary rites, and letting these tormented unknowns finally find... Nice. He's pulling the skulls off, isn't he? Yeah, he's extracting the skulls. I mean, that makes sense, right? SKULLBOYS? Yeah, that's on me, really. Gary, seen here extracting skulls from corpses and then fetching more corpses from which to extract skulls, is, you may be surprised to learn, by far the smartest of the three SKULLBOYS, and appears to be their de facto leader. Despite being a sickly child in his youth, a fact which may have contributed to his later interest in body modding, he reached adulthood and found work as an animal slaughterer, which may have also contributed to his interest in skulls. It would be a mistake to underestimate Gary, as he truly does seem to possess an acutely unlikely intelligence, and a propensity towards research, medicine, crafting, and shooting. If Gary is the brains, then Bardark is almost certainly the brawn. A tall, mustachioed man with a prematurely receding hairline, Bardark started life as an industrial orphan, and later went on to become a forester. It's safe to assume that forestry is a very difficult job to have in the Scarlands, where almost no trees grow, although it could also be considered a very easy job for exactly the same reason. Perhaps the strange duality of his profession gave him his zen-like demeanor and great memory. Either way, he's skilled in plants, mining, crafting, medical, and also melee combat, and can be seen here wielding an enormous steel bar. Our final SKULLBOY is the evocatively named Bullet, who is of particular interest for several reasons, not the least of which is that she is a woman. This suggests a surprisingly egalitarian attitude towards whatever it is that makes a skullboy a skullboy. She spent her childhood as a wreckage explorer, and most of her adulthood drifting between gangs, never stopping in one place for long or honing a specific skill set. Still, she's a dedicated and single-minded worker, and has been laser-focused on construction tasks since the trio first claimed their warehouse, barely even stopping to sleep, and otherwise only having skills in social, research, and the bare minimum in cooking. Oh, and she's about 2 months pregnant too. Yeah. A horrifying thought in and of itself, made worse by the trio's blasé attitude towards medical care. From what we can tell, neither of the other two skullboys is the child's father, at least not biologically. After their first night together, the boys awake at the crack of dawn, move the last of the rubble out of their barrack, and continue the endless task of shucking skulls from their corpses. Bardark, no doubt putting his hard-earned, or perhaps trivially earned, forestry chops through their paces, seems to have plans for a particularly dismal-looking patch of dirt on the shore of an unsightly green pond filled with toxic water. He begins by cutting down a tree, and then starts sowing what I can only hope aren't hops. Bullet has assembled a cozy little lunch nook, using an upcycled table she recovered from a ruin, and 2 little chairs she made out of wire. We can say a lot of things about the Skullboys, but they aren't so sick as to eat without a table. Nearby, a diseased lizard tries to eat a diseased rat, sustaining heavy wounds in the process. An immediate reminder that food is hard won in the Scarlands, and the boys' supply of survival meals will not last forever. Nor for that matter will their supply of wood, the existing stores of which Bullet has chosen to put towards constructing a research bench. With so much junk, scrap and discarded electronics lying around, it makes sense to have a workbench to see how such items could be repurposed. She'll need to carefully plan her work before getting started, as it would be a shame to... Oof. Yeah, that's probably not good. Bullet may be inexperienced, but she's no quitter. Thanks to that tree Bardark cut down earlier, Bullet has enough wood to try again, and it's safe to assume she's learned a valuable lesson that all joiners and carpenters learn at one point or another. Measure twice, cut once. It's a failure that will no doubt catalyze her development into a far more confident and competent carpenter. Oh. Wow. Wow, that's really bad. Wow, that sucks for her. Bullet may be incompetent, but she's no quitter. Bardark, seen here sowing another patch of dirt with seedlings, has already cut down another tree or 2, and Gary has located a few other pieces of discarded lumber close by. There'll be enough wood for Bullet to make another attempt, and hopefully by now she has learned... something. She takes a moment to clear her head, relaxing on the broken asphalt close to that monitor lizard from earlier, seen here succumbing to its verminous injuries. Perhaps the environment is getting to her. Lord knows it's getting to me. It's hard to overstate just what an unpleasant environment this really is. As Gary continues exploring ruined factory buildings, dying and disease-ridden crows literally rain down from the sky. Sickly cawing and splatting are an ever-present backing track to life out here in the Scarlands. It's now 10 PM. Bardark and Gary have turned in for the night, satisfied after a hard day's work. Or possibly for Bardark a very easy day's work. The jury's still out on his profession. Anyway, the point is, he's obviously satisfied with what he accomplished today, and Bullet obviously is not. She's still on her feet, hoping to get the research table boxed off before day 3. A success, finally, and a fine way to box off a very productive day 2. Some dirt has been sown with potato seedlings and psychoid plants, the storeroom is full of arguably useful materials, and the Skullboys' base now boasts a horseshoe pin and a research bench. The boys still have no medical supplies to speak of, and only about a season's worth of rations left, but they don't seem disturbed by these facts just yet. Oh, but they are putting those skulls to use. Yeah, looks like Bullet is mounting one on a pike. Well, I'm sure it'll really tie the room together. It's day 3, and Gary and Bardark have decided to go exploring one of the nearby abandoned buildings. Built in 5314, the Cornelius Barnaby Penwright Southam building was originally a factory that manufactured the machinery used for processing and packaging chem fuel. It was condemned in 5418, but later repurposed for use as a staging post by forces loyal to the Red Talon Empire in 5422. 4 years later it fell to insurgents, before being abandoned entirely in 5428, when the county was rendered uninhabitable by Operation Pest Control. It was briefly used as an industrial storage facility, before a community investment grant from the interim New Liberal Republic of 5449 saw it transformed into a social and business centre, focused on turning at-risk youth away from eco-terrorism and towards entrepreneurship in the field of agentic computing. But in 5450, a rogue agentic AI system called down a dormant mechanoid drop pod directly on top of the building, leading to the death of all 65 people inside. By 5452, it was believed to be a staging post for an eco-terrorism group called the Air and Water Society, although what happened between then and now is more or less a mystery due to the catastrophic failure of the local environment, collapse of the dominant planetary empire, and total ruination of the regional megacity. A good 50 years have passed between then and now. So what might the building hold today? Honestly, could be anything. They begin by breaching the main vestibule, revealing the dark, crumbling corridors within. The rooms have been stripped bare and show decades of deterioration, valuables long since salvaged by thieves and drifters. There are supply crates from ancient wars, barrels and hydraulics from even older industrial activity. One room boasts a time-ravaged stove and tarnished camp supplies, but nothing valuable seems to remain in this place, only ancient, unidentifiable junk. Then Gary spies an electronic storage crate, the seals still intact, buried at the back of a closet piled high with scrap and detritus. The boys move on it at once. As the seals come loose and the lid pops free, the prize is revealed. Miraculous medical supply kits originating from a so-called glitter world. Bullet is called over to recover them. A disaster strikes soon after, as 3 ancient wasp drones emerge from a darkened corner. Gary, the only Skullboy wearing no armor at all, takes the brunt of their initial strike. He gets off one shot before diving behind Bardark. The big man moves up with his steel bar. The ancient crates cluttering the hallway become barricades. Gunfire rings out. It's a hard-won victory. Perhaps the boys will be more cautious when exploring in future. Perhaps not. The boys are badly bleeding. The only person not bleeding is Bullet, who, broadly speaking, has no skills at all, but with specific relevance to this particular situation, has no medical skills at all. The next few hours may very well be the last hours of the Skullboys. The boys, perhaps wisely, decide it's better that Bardark and Gary take care of each other than let Bullet anywhere near them. Gary's wounds are by far the worst. Bardark, still bleeding profusely and no doubt aching himself, tends to Gary as best he can. They choose to forgo using the medical supplies they just recovered, possibly not understanding what they are. We can only speculate. Once the worst of Gary's injuries have been tended, using a few dirty rags and some old hairpins, he assumes the role of nurse and begins tending Bardark. Bullet tries to keep the area clean. It's hard to say which of the two has the bigger challenge. Bullet, perhaps starting to feel undervalued, decides to attempt an even more ludicrous challenge, the construction of an electricity-generating wind turbine. It's hard to know exactly what she might be thinking. After failing multiple times to construct what is, essentially, a table, it's almost unimaginable that she would have any success at all in constructing it. You gotta be shitting me. No, that is a working, functioning wind turbine just right there outside. Unbelievable. Bullet immediately heads to the storage room to be sick. No doubt the mixture of adrenaline and elation is overwhelming her. That or the pregnancy. But probably the elation. While the boys rest, recuperate, and somehow begin installing electric lights, someone unexpected has arrived in their territory. He appears to be a pretty pizza-loving psychopathic gigolo and elected town councilman of the Denbarium settlement. By the way, he's come to trade, and he's arrived at a good time. The boys are in no fit state to be belligerent, and the man is offering both medical supplies and more meals, two things that the boys have in very short supply. In a stroke of further good fortune, Nugford the town councilman doesn't seem put off by the pile of headless corpses outside. This is a great opportunity to build good relations with a neighbouring settlement. The Scarlands themselves are not exactly flush with certain resources, food chief among them, and so being able to trade with someone from beyond the Scarlands is likely to be a vital and long-term... Bardark just hit him with a steel bar. No, what are they doing? The SKULLBOYS... The SKULLBOYS are murdering Nugfur. Nugfur is dead. Yep, Nugfur's dead. There we go. That's, yep. Well, you know, don't mess with the SKULLBOYS, I guess. Time passes uneventfully, as Gary and Bardark rest and recuperate from injuries new and newer. Bullet continues the endless work of cleaning and repairing, and also removes the skull from Nugfur's decomposing corpse. Recovery is slow going out here. The toxic wind probably doesn't help. That and the extremely low quality bed. It does, however, seem as though the SKULLBOYS intend to make this a permanent base of operations, complete with a suitably creative name. Bullet also constructs some more workbenches, allowing Gary to start turning boulders into bricks once he's back on his feet. Events overtake the boys somewhat then, as a drifter with actual hostile intent arrives on their turf, presumably drawn by the promise of riches implied by the inexplicable wind turbine. Guillermo may be smart, but he's no SKULLBOY, and they're more than capable of ambushing a lone would-be intruder, even if Bardark is still a little worse for wear. Bardark compensates for this by staying out of combat entirely. Instead, he jumps in front of the invader shouting, "Hey idiot, stab me idiot. You'll never stab me idiot. I can't be stabbed by a mere simpleton like you. SKULLBOYS rule." Guillermo, understandably driven livid by such a declaration, begins chasing Bardark single-mindedly, allowing the other two SKULLBOYS to take free shots at him until he is bleeding to death on the ground. A masterclass in urban warfare tactics. Next, Guillermo is stripped of his belongings and then beaten to death, the customary punishment for being both weaker than the SKULLBOYS and trespassing on their territory. The next day is quiet. Peaceful even. The boys decide to expand... What the Actually, the next day is pandemonium. Flaming mechanical wreckage is raining down from the sky. It makes a change from crows, but not necessarily a good one. By chance, a working gravity drive has fallen out of orbit, complete with a retinue of mechanical servitors. By chance, or by design? Could this be why the SKULLBOYS had been waiting in this spot? Had they predicted the descent of the gravity drive? Had they perhaps even caused it somehow? I wouldn't put it past Gary. Whatever they know, or don't know, about the nature of the gravity engine, they clearly aren't taking any chances. All three of them, armed, ready, approach the device cautiously. The mechanical servitors all appear to have been destroyed in the descent. But is the engine itself intact? It falls to Gary to perform an inspection. Miraculously, the device appears to be intact. This engine could power a levitating gravship, powerful enough to propel the boys anywhere on the planet, and potentially even just slightly off-planet. It will take an enormous amount of research and engineering to reach that point, of course, but between Gary's brains, Bullet's doggedness, and Bardark's enormous steel bar, anything might very well be possible. So what lies ahead now for the SKULLBOYS? We just don't know. But perhaps we'll find out next time. Hey there, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed that. Bit of a different style from the usual RimWorld stuff. I always get nervous uploading anything new, so hopefully it isn't awful. My plan originally was to just set up a little junkyard type base for these guys. But then the grab ship stuff is also cool. I should do that stuff. I haven't done that yet. This is my first time playing with Odyssey. But I think if I build a grab ship, it's just going to blow up my base, so... I don't know, should I wait till I've got a grab anchor thing and keep this as a base of operations for the boys while they fly around and do stuff? Or should it just be a purely a flying around playthrough? Let me know what you think in the comments. I will take feedback on board, because I don't really know much about Odyssey. So, you know, let me know what you think, basically. I can't guarantee that I'll make more videos in this series. It'll depend if people watch it or not, because as you probably know, or more likely don't know, not a lot of people watch my RimWorld videos, and it always kills the channel whenever I start uploading them. So I'm probably not going to commit to like a 90 video series like I usually do. I'll just make videos in this series as long as people are watching them, and if they stop watching, I'll you know, there's some other games I might try on the channel instead. I was thinking of doing a Factorio playthrough on the channel, which might be kind of cool, but yeah, I love RimWorld, so let's see how this goes. I hope you enjoyed it. If you do enjoy it, whoa, let me tell you, you're gonna have to engage with this video, because yeah, I do not have much luck breaking into you know, RimWorld type recommend. Well, I don't know how it works. I don't know how anything works. I'm gonna stop talking. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and yeah, see you around.